Hi, Mindy. It's good to see you today.
Yeah, thanks for having me in.
Yeah. So last time that we were together, we completed this inventory, the Beck Depression inventory, and looking at your results, you rank very low on depression, so you're on the very low scale of minimal depression. But there's definitely some things, to talk about, to work through. It looks like you are having some difficulty with some things. What was it like taking this assessment?
Yeah, I mean, I was very comfortable taking it. I feel like there were certain things that I feel like I could have ranked higher than what I did, but I don't always feel that way.
Right.
And so I would circle, like the lower of the two, because I don't always feel quite as bad as what some of the choices were.
Right. So, like if you look back at these questions, do you feel like it would kind of fluctuate from day to day, or do you feel pretty?
Yeah, some of them definitely would fluctuate.
Yeah.
I did notice, the guilt, I think, pretty much stays, it stays the same, and that's always kind of a concern of mine.
Okay. So, it sounds like that is a concern. So let's talk more about the self-criticism. So you did put for today that I criticize myself for all of my faults, which is on the more severe side. So tell me more about maybe why you're feeling that way.
So I can feel in my head how I will say the same things over. Like I will hear a conversation that I've had with somebody throughout the day, and so like I kind of will beat myself up about some of the things that I say that I didn't really mean to say it that way, or like I replay that conversation over a couple times in my head, and just I have some negative thoughts about like the conversation in general.
Right. Okay, and that's definitely affecting you negatively. It just keeps coming back to you and giving you these bad thoughts. So when you're thinking about that right now, if you look back at that situation, do you feel like do you feel the same way, like it was the wrong thing to say, or do you?
No, I don't. It's almost like I will exhaust myself thinking about it, and then once I get to a point where like I've thought about it and replayed it, and then I'm kind of over it after I've replayed it, but I've thought about it a lot and kind of beat myself up about it, and then I kind of let it go.
Yeah. So you recognize this is an unhealthy behavior that's going on. Yeah. Well, so maybe something that could help with that is to positively affirm yourself, because you know that what you're saying is not wrong. So maybe have like a mantra that you say to yourself when those thoughts are coming back up. In what context are you beating yourself up? So in other words, what would be a good mantra that you could say to yourself?
So usually I'll say, and it's typically with adults, like I'll say, that was dumb to say.
Those negative things.
Yeah, like I just don't want to sound dumb. Like mostly to the teachers that I work with, and then I'll replay it and I'll say that's dumb. So I really like your idea of stopping that thought with a positive thought.
Replace it with something positive.
And so would it sound like I am smart and I am kind, and my conversations are intellectual, intelligent, and kind.
Yeah, that sounds good.
With my fellow teachers.
Yeah. Yeah, that sounds good. Or maybe just pick one or two of those things and just repeat that 3 times. So anytime you notice yourself replaying that throughout the day, just I am smart, I am kind, I am smart, I am kind, and just say that to yourself 3 times.
Oh, I really like that.
Yeah. So that's one thing that might help with your self-criticalness.
Yeah.
So, and also let's look at your loss of energy. So you feel like you have less energy than you used to have?
I definitely feel like I do have less energy, and I think that's because, you know, I'm so busy, and I'm so busy that I'm not working out and walking like I should.
Okay.
And you know, I think I'm not getting that release.
So you already know, it sounds like, what is contributing to that.
Yeah.
So it sounds like that maybe isn't coming so much from depression, but it might contribute to depression because you're not getting that outlet and being able to work out.
Right.
So do you think you can find the time to do that?
I would definitely love to find the time to just like walk the dog, you know, and instead of sitting on the couch and relaxing, which is what my body wants to do.
Right. Yeah.
I usually will feel better if I go for a walk. It's just getting myself to do those things.
Yeah, especially you're working and you're in grad school and you're a wife and you're a mom, and it is hard. But I guess just knowing that when you get home and knowing what the result's going to be after you go for your walk.
And I think it could be a time, you know, that I take the dog for a walk and I bring my son along, and it's a 20-minute break from, you know, grad school, or it's a, you know, like a 20-minute break from, you know, schoolwork, you know, whatever. And that would be good quality time with my family, because I also feel kind of guilty. You know, that leads to some of the guilt that I feel is being away from my family when I'm having to do other things.
So that would be two positives. You're outside, you're, you know, spending time with your family, so you don't have to beat yourself up about that.
Yeah.
Just take that break, and that is going to help release serotonin in your brain and those positive, happy thoughts. So.
Right.
Yeah.
I'd really like to do that in my day.
Yeah. So what would that look like in your day?
I was just trying to think, like, what would get me, instead of coming home from my exhausting day, like taking the 20 minutes and sitting on the couch, because that's what I do, you know, and I hold Finnegan, and, you know, like, you know, what would that look like? That would look like me coming home, and instead of sitting down, putting my shoes on and, you know, getting the dog and saying, let's go for a walk. And, you know, I would like to think that my husband would join us too, and maybe, you know, maybe it could be good for our entire family to just, and even if it's like 10 or 20 minutes, like it's 10 or 20 minutes that, you know, we've spent good quality time together.
Yeah, absolutely. And yeah, I think that would help with both of the things that you kind of have going on. Absolutely.
Yeah, I would love that.
Yeah. So, and I guess that goes along with the guilty feelings that you have. I feel guilty over many things I've done or should have done. So you said like spending time with your family, so that would go right along with that.
Yeah.
In what other context do you feel guilty about things?
It's just mostly not being here for my family. You know, I travel to grad school 2 nights a week, sometimes 2 nights a week, sometimes just one night, and that's just, I feel like I put a lot on my husband to take care of, you know, our son that night, and then all weekend I'm studying, and so I feel guilty that I'm not there for everything.
Right. Yeah. So how do you think that you could use those the affirmations to help you with that? So since you are going, you know, driving to grad school, what would be something positive that you could say?
I just think I would have to say, I am a good mom. I'm a consistently good mom, and just because I'm not with them all the time doesn't make me, you know, a bad mom or a bad wife. So I'm a good mom. I am a good wife.
And this is short term.
Yeah, right.
And really you're setting a good example because you're furthering your education, and Finnegan's looking up to that.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, and I really need to work on those affirmations when I start having those negative thoughts and reaffirm myself. I think that's a great strategy.
Well, good. So next time we meet, we'll talk about that and see if that's helped for you.
Great.
Okay.
Great.
Awesome.
Yeah.